I had always prided myself on being perfect, on controlling every detail of my life. My mother taught me that cleanliness and order were the keys to a good life, and I believed her. But everything changed when Ava came into my world. She was everything I admired, everything I wanted to be. At first glance, she was the embodiment of precision and perfection. We met in college in the most ordinary of circumstances. But there was nothing ordinary about Ava. The way she moved through life with such calculated grace, her organized notes, her clean desk, the way she dressed, always perfectly neat, it was mesmerizing. I couldn't help but watch her, always amazed by how effortlessly she kept it all together. But there was something else. Something deeper. A softness I didn't expect to find. It was in the way she helped a classmate who had made a mistake. Something as simple as organizing notes that were all over the place. And when I made my first mistake around her, I braced myself for a reprimand. Instead, she smiled, shrugged, and helped me fix it. "Don't worry," she said, her voice calm. "It happens. But it's easy to fix if you just focus." Her patience caught me off guard. I expected someone so perfect to be unforgiving, to expect the same perfection from everyone around her. But Ava, she didn't. She didn't scold, didn't reprimand, didn't judge. Instead, she quietly corrected me, and for the first time, I saw a crack in her perfect armor. I found myself drawn to her, not just because of her perfection, but because of how she made me feel. There was something beyond the surface, a warmth she didn't show anyone else. A warmth that made me believe maybe, just maybe, there was more to her than what met the eye. And as I got closer to her, I realized, Ava wasn't perfect after all. She was just as broken as I was, in ways I couldn't yet understand. It started small, just a shift in the way Ava looked at me. A fleeting glance, a tiny smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. It was the kind of thing you wouldn't notice unless you were looking for it. But I was always watching, always trying to understand her. And that day I did notice. I was carrying a heavy stack of books across campus, barely managing to keep them together when I bumped into her. She was there, as always, effortlessly organized, her clothes perfectly pressed. But this time something was different. She noticed me struggling. I saw her hesitate for just a second before she stepped closer. "Need a hand?" she asked, her voice soft. I looked at her, surprised. Ava never let anyone help her, and she certainly never let anyone touch her stuff. I didn't think she even trusted people enough to let them carry her things. But there she was, standing next to me, ready to lend a hand. Before I could protest, she reached out, grabbed the stack of books from my hands, and lifted them with ease. I stood there, dumbfounded, as she took control of the situation, just like that. "Don't worry," she said, glancing over her shoulder at me with that same calm smile. "I've got it." I didn't know what to say. A part of me wanted to thank her, but another part of me felt, I don't know, unsettled. Ava never let anyone in. She was always the one in control, always the one who didn't need help. But here she was, helping me, letting me be the one who needed it for once. "Thanks," I managed to say, still a bit thrown by the whole thing. She nodded, not making a big deal out of it. "It's nothing. I don't mind." But I could see it in her eyes, the same flicker of doubt that I had when I first started to let her get close. She was afraid. Afraid of what it meant to trust someone else. I saw it then, in that brief moment. Ava wasn't perfect. She was just like me, trying to hold it all together, hiding behind the illusion of control. As she handed me back the books, our fingers brushed for the briefest second. A simple touch. But it felt like everything shifted in that moment. I couldn't explain it. It wasn't just the act of her helping me, it was the way she let herself help me, the way she trusted me to hold on to something that wasn't perfect. She didn't say anything more, but as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just a small favor. This was something bigger. Ava was changing. And I had no idea what that meant for both of us. The change in Ava was slow at first, like a crack in the wall you can't quite see until it gets big enough to notice. At first, it was little things, tiny mistakes that didn't quite fit her usual pattern of perfection. Her notes, once pristine, now had little scribbles and crossed-out words. I saw her tap her pen against her desk more than once, a habit she used to find irritating. And then there was the way she started to look at me. It wasn't just curiosity anymore, it was longing, like she was trying to find something she had lost. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was just a phase, that everyone has their off days. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something deeper going on. I should have asked her, should have confronted her. But I was scared of what I might find if I did. One afternoon, everything changed. We were sitting together in the library, studying for finals. The quiet hum of the campus around us should have been calming, but all I could focus on was the way she was acting. She was tapping her foot nervously under the table, glancing at the clock every few minutes and biting her lip. Her usual calm, collected demeanor was gone. I wanted to ask her if something was wrong, but the words never left my mouth. "Do you ever feel lost?" she asked suddenly, breaking the silence. I looked at her, unsure how to respond. "What do you mean?" "I don't know," she muttered, her voice barely audible. "Like you're doing everything right, following the rules, but none of it makes sense anymore?" I felt a shiver run through me. This wasn't like Ava. She was the one who always had everything figured out. She had a plan for everything, and nothing ever seemed to throw her off. But now she was questioning everything. It felt like the foundation beneath us was crumbling, and I didn't know how to stop it. "Maybe you're just overthinking," I suggested, though even I didn't believe my own words. She shook her head. "No, it's more than that. It's like everything I've been holding onto for so long is slipping away and I can't stop it. It's breaking me." Her words hit me harder than I expected. I didn't know how to help her, didn't know what to say. I wanted to tell her it would be okay, that she just needed to trust herself, but I could see it in her eyes. She didn't believe that anymore. Ava's perfect world, the one she worked so hard to maintain, was falling apart, and I could do nothing to stop it. As we gathered our things to leave, I saw it. Her hand was shaking. Not the small tremor that could be brushed off, but a full shake, a deep, uncontrollable one. Ava had always been the picture of composure. This was the first crack in her carefully constructed mask. And I knew in that moment that everything had changed. She was no longer the untouchable Ava I admired. She was vulnerable, just like me. I should have seen it coming. Maybe part of me did. But I had ignored the warning signs, brushed them off as nothing more than the stress of finals. Ava was slipping, and I was too blind to stop it. The cracks I'd seen before were growing, and what scared me most was that I couldn't reach her anymore. She was distant, pulling away even though I was right there, trying to hold on to the fragments of what we had. Then everything changed in an instant. It was a late night in the library, just the two of us. I was focused on my work, trying to get through the piles of assignments, but my mind kept drifting back to Ava. She had been distant lately, but tonight, something was different. I could feel the tension in the air between us. It wasn't just the silence, it was the weight of unsaid words, of things left unspoken. She suddenly closed her book with a snap, causing me to look up. Her face was pale, her eyes clouded with something I couldn't identify. "Ava?" I asked, my voice trembling with concern. "What's going on?" She didn't answer at first. She just stared at the desk, her fingers curling into tight fists on top of the papers. When she finally spoke, her voice was shaky, fragile in a way I had never heard before. "I've been hiding something," she whispered, almost to herself, "and it's going to destroy everything." I felt my heart drop. "What do you mean?" "Ava, what's going on?" She looked up at me then, and the pain in her eyes almost broke me. "I've been hiding something from you, something that involves you, and someone else." I could feel the blood drain from my face. I knew. I just knew. There was a cold, gnawing feeling deep in my gut, telling me that whatever she was about to say, it wasn't going to be good. "Ava, please," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "Just tell me." She swallowed hard, her eyes flickering with guilt. "I didn't want you to know, but I think you have the right to now." She paused, taking a deep breath. "I've been seeing someone. Behind your back." And I didn't hear the rest. My mind went blank. The room seemed to close in on me as her words echoed in my ears, louder than anything I could have imagined. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. It wasn't just the affair, it was the fact that she had lied to me, that she had kept this secret, knowing how much I trusted her. I tried to speak, to say something, but the words stuck in my throat. How could she? How could she do this to me after everything we'd shared? After everything I had given her? She reached out to me, but I pulled away, my anger rising, my heart breaking all at once. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice barely audible, "but I couldn't keep it from you anymore." You should have told me sooner," I cut her off, my voice harsh. "I deserve that much." The words stung, but I couldn't stop myself. I wanted to scream, to throw everything off the table, to make her feel what I was feeling. But I didn't. I just sat there, in that suffocating silence, and let her betrayal settle around us. Ava was broken. And so was I. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Her betrayal, the secret she had kept from me, the person who had taken what was mine without a second thought. I felt betrayed, shattered, lost. I couldn't focus on anything. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was her face, her expression when she confessed the affair. I wanted to scream, wanted to make her feel every ounce of pain I was going through. But I couldn't. I was too numb, too angry, too hurt. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how everything had gone so wrong. The Ava I had admired, the Ava I had trusted with my heart, was no more. In her place was someone I didn't recognize, someone who had deceived me, who had taken my trust and stomped on it without a second glance. I tried to push it all away. I tried to think of something else, but the anger kept creeping back in. How could she? How could she betray me like that? We had been close, too close. I had let her in, given her my heart, and she had thrown it all away for someone else. I wanted revenge. I wanted to make her feel what I was feeling, to see her hurt the way she had hurt me. I wanted her to beg for forgiveness, to see the error of her ways, to beg me to take her back. But I knew it wouldn't fix anything. Revenge wasn't going to heal the hole in my chest. Why do you look so lost? A voice interrupted my thoughts. It was Ava. She had shown up at my door again, standing there like she had every right to be. But this time I couldn't look at her the same way. This time I didn't want to hear her explanations, her excuses. Why do you think? I shot back, my voice sharp. You've ruined everything. She flinched but didn't back away. I didn't mean to. I never wanted to hurt you. Then why did you? I asked, stepping closer to her. You knew what you were doing. You knew how much I cared about you. How could you just throw that away? Her eyes softened, and for a second, I saw the vulnerability in her. I was confused. I was scared, and I made a mistake. A huge mistake. But it wasn't about you. It was about me, about something inside me that I couldn't face. I stared at her, trying to process her words. Was she telling the truth? Was it really just about her and not me? Or was she lying again? It didn't matter, did it? She had still betrayed me, still taken my trust and destroyed it. I don't know if I can forgive you, I whispered, my voice shaking with the weight of the decision I was about to make. I don't know if I even want to try. Ava reached for my hand, but I pulled it back. I get it, she said softly, the defeat in her voice cutting through me like a knife. I've lost you, haven't I? I didn't answer right away. I couldn't. My emotions were too tangled, too raw. But deep down I knew. I had to make a choice, and no matter how much it hurt, I couldn't keep holding on to something that wasn't real anymore. Yeah, I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. You have. The days after Ava left were the hardest I'd ever faced. She didn't fight me on it. There were no last-minute pleas for forgiveness, no tears begging me to reconsider. She just let me go, as if she knew what had to happen. As if she understood that I needed to heal, and that no amount of apology would fix the damage she had done. But even though she was gone, I couldn't escape the haunting question that kept swirling in my mind. Was I wrong to let her go? It wasn't that I didn't want her back. I did, more than anything. The anger and betrayal, they had been my shields. But underneath it all, there was this aching emptiness where she used to be. I couldn't pretend it wasn't there, no matter how hard I tried. I tried to keep busy. I buried myself in work, surrounded myself with friends who didn't ask too many questions, but it didn't help. I still thought about Ava, about the way her hands had trembled when she told me the truth. I thought about her eyes, full of guilt and regret. I didn't know what was worse, the betrayal itself or the way she seemed so broken, as though she too was drowning in the mess we'd made. And yet, I couldn't forget that moment when she trusted me enough to tell me the truth. She could have kept lying, could have hidden it, but she didn't. Maybe that meant something. Maybe there was hope for her. And for me. But as I sat in the quiet of my room, I couldn't help but ask myself, is hope enough? I wanted to believe it was. I wanted to believe that Ava, that we could fix everything. But the longer I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't know if I could ever trust her again. A few days later, Ava showed up at my door. I wasn't expecting her. I didn't want her to come, but somehow there she was. Her hair was messier than usual, her eyes tired. She looked lost. Can we talk? She asked, her voice fragile, as if she was afraid of being turned away. I didn't say anything at first. I just stood there, feeling the weight of the moment. I had so many emotions swirling inside of me, but I couldn't find the words. What was there left to say? I'm sorry, she said, her voice breaking. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I'm asking for a chance, for us to talk about what happened. I wanted to close the door, to shut her out. But I couldn't. I didn't know if it was because I still loved her or if I just needed closure. Either way, I couldn't turn my back on her. Not yet. Come in, I finally said, my voice soft, reluctant. As she walked past me, I felt that familiar ache return. And I knew that I was about to face the hardest decision of my life, whether to let her back in or to keep pushing her away. The room felt small as Ava stepped inside. There was a tension hanging between us that neither of us could ignore. The silence stretched on until it felt unbearable. I didn't know what to say to her, and I could tell she didn't know where to start either. We both sat down on the couch, a few feet apart, neither of us making the first move. The air was thick with everything we'd left unsaid. She was sitting there so close, and yet she felt like a stranger. How had everything changed so quickly? "I've been thinking," she said quietly, breaking the silence, her voice trembling just slightly. "About us. About what happened. And I don't know where to begin. I can't undo what I did, and I know I don't deserve to ask for anything from you. But I want you to understand that I never meant for things to get this far." I looked at her, waiting for more, but the words she'd just spoken hung in the air, and I couldn't make sense of them. Was this an apology? Or was it just another attempt to explain away her actions? How many more explanations did I need before I could forgive her? Or even decide if I wanted to forgive her? "I've been blaming myself for everything," she continued, her eyes welling up with tears. "I let you down, and I never meant to. I don't even know why I did it. I was scared, lost in my own head, and I made the wrong choice." I could feel the anger rising within me. I could hear the frustration in her voice, the regret, but it wasn't enough. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to shake her and demand that she give me a better answer, a real reason for why she had destroyed everything we had. But the words wouldn't come out. Instead, I just stared at her, feeling the weight of it all pressing down on my chest. "You think I don't know that?" I snapped, unable to stop myself. "You think I don't know that you were scared? We were both scared, Ava. I trusted you. You were my everything, and I stopped myself. My chest was tight and I could barely breathe. My heart was racing as I tried to hold back tears, but they were threatening to spill over. I felt betrayed, humiliated, but more than anything, lost. Everything I thought I knew about her, about us, was falling apart. And the worst part was, I didn't know if I could ever put it back together." Ava's eyes softened, and she reached out to touch my hand, but I pulled away sharply. "Please don't. Don't try to comfort me now. You've had your chance." She flinched but didn't withdraw. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I need to tell you that I love you. I love you, and I'm so sorry. I don't know how to fix this, but I'll spend every day of my life trying to." Her words were almost too much to bear. Well, after everything? She was asking me to believe in something that felt impossible. But as I looked into her eyes, I saw the truth, the real regret, the rawness of the person who had once been untouchable. And for a moment, just a moment, I wondered if there was still a chance for us. But then the doubt came crashing back. She had broken me. She had taken something from me that I didn't know if I could ever get back. She had betrayed me in a way that changed everything. I stood up abruptly, pacing across the room. "I don't know what you want me to say, Ava. You can't just tell me you love me and expect everything to be fine. It doesn't work like that. You've already taken so much from me. I can't just forgive you. Not like this." She looked at me, the weight of my words hitting her, and I saw it. The realization that maybe she was too late. Maybe there was no going back. I turned to face her. "You broke me. And I don't know if I can ever put the pieces back together." I never thought I'd reach a point where I could say this, but here I was, standing in the ruins of everything I had built with Ava, trying to pick up the pieces of a heart that had been shattered into too many pieces to count. She had come to me with her confession, her apology, and her love, but none of it was enough to heal the wound she had left behind. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust her again. But the truth was, I didn't know how. I had spent days questioning myself, trying to decide if forgiveness was possible, or if I would simply keep drowning in the bitterness of the betrayal. And for a while it seemed like I was leaning toward the latter. But somewhere along the way something shifted in me. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't like flipping a switch. It was slow, like a shift in the tide, but it was there. Ava's presence, once a comfort, now felt like a weight. I had allowed her to invade my life, my thoughts, my emotions, and now I had to take it all back. I had to take myself back. I stood up one night, staring at the empty space beside me. Ava had been staying in the apartment for a week, but the silence between us had grown unbearable. I couldn't live like this anymore. I had to make a choice. "Ava," I said, breaking the silence. She was sitting on the couch, her head down, her hands folded in her lap like she was waiting for the next blow. "I've been thinking about everything." She looked up at me, her eyes brimming with anticipation, but I wasn't sure if she was hoping for forgiveness or preparing for more pain. "I can't keep doing this," I continued, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. "I can't keep holding on to this anger, to this fear that I'm never going to be enough for you, or that I'll never get over what you did." Her face fell, her lips trembling as she opened her mouth to speak, but I raised a hand to stop her. "No," I said. I'm not going to keep punishing myself, and I'm not going to keep punishing you either. But I can't forgive you, not now and maybe not ever. But I'm not going to let this define me anymore. She opened her mouth again, but this time, no words came out. She just stared at me, silent, as if trying to understand what I was saying. The room felt thick with unsaid things. I've been so focused on what you took from me, I said, my voice breaking slightly. But I'm realizing now that I've also been taking something from myself. My own peace, my own happiness. I've been holding on to this hurt, thinking it would make me feel better. But it hasn't. Ava sat there, motionless, as the weight of my words sank in. I could see the understanding in her eyes, the recognition that I was finally letting go. It wasn't about forgiving her anymore. It was about taking back control of my life. I'm done being angry, I continued. I'm done being afraid that this betrayal is going to haunt me forever. I'm moving on with or without you. Ava's face was pale as she stood up, her hand shaking as she reached for her coat. I understand, she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. I never wanted to hurt you. But I did. And I'll leave if that's what you need. I nodded, feeling an unexpected sense of relief. It's not just what I need, I said quietly. It's what I deserve. And as she walked out of the door, I realized something. The pain wasn't gone, but I was finally starting to take back the power I had lost. I had made the choice to stop letting Ava's actions define me. I wasn't the broken person I had been a few weeks ago. I wasn't the victim of her betrayal. I was someone who had been hurt, yes, but I was still here. And I was going to be okay. The shift had happened. I had taken control of my life, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe again. It had been a few weeks since Ava left, and I was beginning to see the world through a different lens. The pain wasn't gone, but I had learned to carry it. I no longer felt like a victim. No longer did I feel crushed under the weight of betrayal. I had become something else, someone else. Someone who could walk away, who could say enough, and not feel guilty about it. I still missed her though. The way she used to laugh, the way she looked at me like I was the only person who mattered in the world. I still remembered how she would get lost in her thoughts, her eyes soft with that faraway look, and how I thought I knew everything about her, until I didn't. The love I had for her was still there, lingering in the quiet moments of the night when I allowed myself to think about the what-ifs. But I knew one thing for sure now, I could never go back. I had taken control of my life again, and that was more than enough. The person I had become was stronger than the one I had been. And that strength had come from within, not from anything or anyone else. It had been there all along, hidden under layers of doubt and insecurity. It had been there every time I had chosen to forgive someone else, even when I wasn't ready to forgive myself. One afternoon, I ran into Ava unexpectedly. I didn't plan on seeing her. I didn't even know she was back in town. But there she was, standing in front of me outside a cafe, looking exactly as I remembered. The same dark eyes, the same tousled hair, the same soft, apologetic expression. It hit me in a way I didn't expect. I felt a sudden rush of everything, love, pain, anger, confusion, all of it flooding back in a matter of seconds. She stood still, waiting for me to say something. I could tell she was nervous. Her hands were trembling slightly, and she kept looking away as if trying to find the right words. I'm sorry, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't want to see you like this. But I can't go on pretending I didn't mess everything up. I need you to know how much I regret everything. I've been trying to fix it, myself, my life, but it doesn't feel like enough. I wanted to yell at her, tell her she had no right to show up now, that after everything she did, she couldn't just come back into my life and expect things to be okay. But I didn't. I took a deep breath and found the strength to speak calmly. Ava, you don't get to fix it. Not now. Not after everything that happened. You can't just come back and ask for forgiveness. That's not how this works. I watched her face falter. I could see the hurt in her eyes, the same hurt I had felt for weeks. But this time, I didn't feel the urge to soften my words. I didn't feel the need to go back. It was over. It had to be. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. I needed you to know that I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for hurting you more than anyone else. I nodded slowly, my own heart heavy, but my resolve still firm. I know you're sorry, Ava. But this is something I have to do for myself now. I can't keep holding on to what was. It's over. She nodded, her tears spilling over, but she didn't speak. I could tell she knew I was right. This was the point of no return. There was no going back, no fixing what was broken. We had both changed too much. As she turned to walk away, I felt a pang of sadness, but I also felt something else, something I couldn't quite put into words. I wasn't sad for me. I was sad for what we had lost. But more than anything, I felt a quiet peace. The storm inside me was finally over. I had taken back my life. Ava had left, but I was no longer the person who had been left behind. I had learned that sometimes closure doesn't come from the other person. It comes from within yourself. And in that moment, I knew I was free. It's strange how much weight a few weeks can lift. Time, in its quiet way, can erase the sharp edges of pain, smoothing them out until they're just memories I could look at without falling apart. Ava's absence had created a space in my life, but the more I sat with it, the more I realized that this space wasn't empty. It was filled with me, with the person I had become without her. I woke up each morning now not in the shadow of what we had, but in the light of what I could become. The past didn't haunt me anymore. It wasn't that I had forgiven her, or even that I had forgotten. It was just that I had made peace with everything. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the confusion, none of it had to define me. One evening, I sat alone in my apartment, the same space where so much pain had built up, now calm and almost peaceful. I had spent the day out with friends, laughing, enjoying my time, feeling like I had finally found something solid beneath my feet. My phone buzzed on the table in front of me and I glanced at the screen. It was a message from Ava. I opened it, expecting another apology, another attempt to reach out. But instead, it was just a simple message. I hope you're doing well. I miss you and I'll never forget what we shared. I stared at the screen for a long time. I knew she was still out there, still thinking about me. But I had made my peace. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel the need to reply with anything dramatic. I simply put the phone down and took a deep breath. The weight was gone. The resentment, the guilt, the longing, it was all fading away, and what was left was a quiet kind of understanding. We had been a part of each other's lives, but it didn't have to be forever. And that was okay. I had learned something in this painful process. I had learned that we can survive heartbreak, not just survive but grow. And sometimes that growth means letting go. It means realizing that the most important relationship in your life is the one you have with yourself. I had found mine again. And in that, I found peace. I smiled to myself, knowing that the story with Ava was over. But my story? That was just beginning.